It's time for our weekly segment with NFL Hall of Fame columnist John McClain. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943. Read John's work at GallerySports.com and SportsRadio610.com.
All right, here we go. The 5 o'clock hour is, we're near the last 30 minutes of our show. Paul's Top 5 around the corner. John McClain, Hall of Fame columnist, joins us on 365 Sports. John, the city of Houston is lit. They win it all. They kind of thumb their noses at everybody. And what's it been like in the city of champions right now?
People are fired up because they won an untainted World Series. They took so much grief for the World Series in 2017, the last 2 years, and they did it with great pitching, great defense, timely hitting, and the celebration is still going on, as you guys can imagine.
John, you mentioned the untainted World Series. One of the things they did was to wash that off. They went and got Dusty Baker, who was a guy beyond reproach and an old school baseball man, to come in and do that. And he has had his opportunities, and that collapse against the Angels when he was with the Giants, that had to sting. What does it mean to the city of Houston and for Dusty Baker to see him finally get that ring?
People love Dusty. He said today he'll be back next season. Jim Crane, the owner's given him an extension. He's offered one to the general manager, James Click. They have new. They want to announce both those guys will be back. Possibly Justin Verlander, who's expected to opt out of his contract and become a free agent, but Jim Crane wants to keep him, but so it could be one of the two, Dusty and Click or Verlander, but people are really fired up about Dusty. Already the oldest manager to ever win a World Series at 73, and they're 7 deep with legitimate starting pitchers, and if Verlander leaves, they'll have 6. They have issues. Yuli Gurriel will be 39 next year. His contract's up. They need a center fielder. They're going to need to do something at catcher. But when it comes to pitching and their big hitters, their top 6, they're in great shape to repeat as champions.
John, last Thursday, the Texans, they were trying to get that Thursday Night Football, World Series, a double feature, but that didn't end up working out. But the Texans fall to the Eagles as Philly remains unbeaten with Jalen Hurts. Your thoughts on seeing the Eagles up close against the Texans and just where they are now at halfway through the season and still perfect?
I think the Eagles were not really fired up about that game, Craig. They were unbeaten. Jalen Hurts was fired up coming back to Houston, but the Texans tied them at halftime. It was 14-14. They played as well as they could possibly play. And but the Eagles are the best team right now. The Eagles are the best team in the NFL. I can't wait till they play the Cowboys again.
Where is your thought process on what Robert Irsay, is it Robert? From the Colts did.
Jim Irsay,
excuse me. Golly. Jim Irsay did with the interim job and Jeff Saturday.
Never seen anything like it. There's got to be some method to the madness. First they play Sam Ellinger. He's never thrown a pass. He's awful. And they bring in Jeff Saturday out of the ESPN booth. Looks to me like they're competing for the number 1 pick that belongs to the Texans right now because they need a quarterback desperately. And but it just seems crazy. I'll bet you he offers Peyton Manning a chance to run his organization. Peyton knows Irsay well. Don't know if he'd want to be part of that mess.
Yeah, Peyton seems to have it made right now, John. He's really rolling along in the Omaha Productions world. What do you think that they'll do in the offseason when it comes to coach? I mean, seeing as I don't want to say they're trying to tank, but they want that number 1 pick. Does Jeff Saturday have a chance to get this job at all?
I can't imagine. It's one thing to stand up in front of your players and talk to them about winning and try to inspire them. he's a great talker. He was a great leader when he was a player for the Colts, one of Peyton Manning's best friends. But man, oh man, when he's got to make those game day clock decisions and go for it on fourth down, and that's tough. It's tough for seasoned coaches who win, much less a guy who's never considered coaching in the NFL. It's going to be intriguing to watch.
John, what's your alert level right now for the Packers?
I think the Packers are going to miss the playoffs because Aaron Rodgers acts like he's very disinterested in what happens with that team. I watched him throw a bunch of red zone interceptions. He's one season removed from playing great. Doesn't mean he can't do it again, but he looks like he just doesn't care because they went out of their way not to give him any extra weapons at wide receiver.
Well, they've done that before, though, haven't they?
Yeah, but he had Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Now he does not have Devontae Adams, and they're in really, really bad shape.
Yeah, and until Brady had that amazing drive to win against the Rams and finally get the W for them, it was like watching Willie Mays drop a fly ball at his old age, watching what was happening to Rodgers and Brady, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is an unbelievable situation. I still can't believe the situation they're in.
John McClain, Hall of Fame columnist. Oh, speaking of receivers, what do you think happens? Who will get Odell Beckham?
I think he's going Dallas. I think Cowboys today. I don't think Jerry Jones would have said what he said if he didn't think he was going to get him.
John, do you think that Jay-Z and Jeff Bezos would make a good pair owning the Commanders?
I'm sorry, what was that question, Paul?
Do you think that Jay-Z and Jeff Bezos would make a good pair owning the Commanders?
I can tell you this. I don't think Jeff Bezos needs any of those guys to be able to do what he wants to do. And but I think that would be tremendous for those guys because they would be a hoot.
You know, even Matthew McConaughey, longtime Washington back then when they were the Redskins, he's a longtime fan. Now you see RG3, Kevin Durant, they want to get involved in a group. I guess the good news is at least people are interested in buying what is a dumpster fire.
Well, there's only one way to go if you get it. You're going to get, in all likelihood, a new stadium back down in the district where RFK was. And think about it. If you're taking over an organization that's that unpopular, your fans are going to love you. The media is going to love you. It's a perfect situation. You get the hobnob with all the politicians like Jack Kent Cooke did during the glory days. It doesn't surprise me one bit.
John, your Baylor Bears are on a 3-game winning streak. Kansas State home Saturday, and all of a sudden you look up because of what else has happened and they've won. Their destiny is right in front of them.
They need to win that game because Vince Young assured me today the Longhorns were going to beat the Frogs. So now Baylor's got to beat the Wildcats. It'd be great if they could continue that winning streak. It's so much fun to watch them play. And every day I say, sick 'em Bears.
Thank you, John. John McClain, GallerySports.com, and also 610 in Houston. Hall of Fame columnist with us Tuesdays, Waco native, and also someone with a mind of his experiences and knowledge from days gone by. Still amazing. Appreciate John McClain at his time. All right, one note about